Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Outlanders. We're up to episode 30 and we've got some massive new upgrades to our server. We've got ourselves some new armor stand add-ons, some new head add-ons and some mini block add-ons. I'm going to be showing those in today's episode, but first, let's take a nap. I just want to say how difficult it's been trying to find a wandering trader in this time. It's just been about 20-30 minutes of wandering around trying to find one, and not a single trader has popped up. I suspect it's something to do with the pack itself that has been put on. And at this stage I probably should, look where I'm going, I probably should say that this pack wasn't actually made by me, nor was the armor stands on and the upgraded heads, but they were all made by Foxy No Tail. So thank you very much to Foxy for putting up all this kind of stuff and being the wonderful developer of this kind of stuff. It's really been useful, and I'm sure we and the Outlanders are going to make a lot of use of it. Okay, after a couple of mishaps, I think I've managed to get myself the add-ons working correctly. So let's just look at that, and you can see right there the base plate is gone. Now if we hit this with blue dye, well, turns out it doesn't do anything. Whoops. But anyway, the red dye should mean it doesn't do anything either. Oh wait, no, the blue dye makes it turn to the right a bit, and the red dye changes its thing. So there's a little bit of trial and error to figure out here, but I think that this will work quite well. In truth, I probably should have tested this beforehand, know what each of the dice does. I'm actually referring to a Discord group chat that I'm looking at, which isn't the best to be looking at both at the left and the right screens at the same time. We've also obtained ourselves a head, and this should hopefully do something. You can see the red dye makes it turn around, the blue dye also makes it turn around, so that's maybe a little bit buggy, but we do have other things. I don't have any other dye yet. Actually, no, I do have purple dye, so let's have a look and see what purple does. And purple makes it sink into the ground a little, as you can see. So we do need to be careful with that, but we should be good there. And of course, all the other dyes do something, and they shall be explored in the future when rebuilding things. Well, it took quite a while for this guy to spawn in, but we can finally look at these blocks. You can see we need 1 emerald and 1 of the block we have to get ourselves 8. And this one is actually not that bad. We've got observers, we've got magmas, we've got coals. So I think we may be able to get some of these ourselves in the future to help decorate things. So once again, that is the mini blocks add-on, and I should say once again thank you to Foxy who made it all. I'm sorry, just before we get to the rest of the episode, I just realised that this thing has been just a little bit wrong. The hat seems to have fallen off, and I didn't touch this thing at all. I'm not sure if, yeah, you can see that one up there is also a little bit broken. So let's get that and replace it, and it's still the same. So that might be a slight bug, I'm not entirely sure. Oh well, we'll continue on as we are and ignore this little bug. Now that that's all out of the way, it's time to get into the episode proper, and you may have noticed there's a bit of a protest going on here while I was fiddling around. You can see they are protesting, and they are not at all happy about something. They're saying, stop the bees, no more bees. We do be vibing, give us less bees, give us fewer bees, that should be. And, oh no, a zombie villager. Where's the zombie villager? Must have died. So that is a little bit of an interesting and developing story. We may also note there's quite a few of these armor stands about. You can see one there slowly getting rid of part of the road. We can see one over here getting rid of more pieces of road. So it's quite a process if they're going to go that far to get rid of things and stop the bees. Nothing to see here, just a protest. Stop the bees. What's this one? For the principal. Spelled correctly for once. And that is there's quite a protest, so that actually makes me think maybe we should start our own protest. Maybe we should protest the rule of this b-boy who's taken over the mayorship role, and for that we're going to need friends. I'm sorry, I've just got to pause the video once again. There's just yet another mystery floating boat over here. That's not the same one that we discovered last week, because that was a dark oak one. I don't think we can get into this one either. But if we fly up and do a look around and perhaps come in at this kind of angle, can we get in? No, we can't. It's still a solid object, as you can see, So that is really weird. That is really interesting. Anyhow, after a couple of days off of trying to relax and just think of a couple of ideas, I've come back to the server and we've got quite a few new developments. First off, the great and glorious mayor has decided to post all these little snarky signs. Magcorp. It reminds me of someone. Oh, it's the person who lost, B-boy. I'll just remind you that I technically didn't lose, I tied. Let's see, what else other signs are there? There's no. Just a sign for, oh no, an Enderman. Let's get rid of this. Where is he? Where did he go? There we go, dispatched. Okay, so there's also a couple new signs elsewhere. What a nice fountain. Wait, why is it bubbling? Why is it bubbling indeed? And a nice missing shop, which I'll get to later. I don't think there's any signs over here, but yes, it seems our new mayor has been posting new snarky signs all over the place, so it's a very good reason why we need the resistance. And as I was saying, this shop has now popped up as well. You may notice that it's quite similar to the one that was just in front of our, or next to our shulker box shop over here, and the reason being it's exactly the same shop, just rebuilt and expanded from the looks. There doesn't look to be anything new in this thing at the moment, but I'm sure there will be more. And looking at it, kind of looks a bit like Grian's barge, to be honest. Probably similar idea. I guess we'll see. A little bit of time has passed, and as you can see, I've started to work on the building itself. Now, I'm trying to get it so it's centered on this bridge, and it's proving a little bit more difficult, mainly due to the shape of this island. It's just sort of really, really oddly shaped. It's more like an L shape. So what we're going to have to do is build this in such a way that this is also L-shaped. So what I'm thinking is if we have, 7 blocks here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, bring this down, bring this like this, and then if we have towers, like little circular towers on each of these, so over here maybe, and over here, that should give it a little bit more height. Now, this does sort of give the look of what I did in Season 1, if you remember that. So I'm going to try and break with that, make it a little bit taller than normal, and do some little decorations with the windows, make it a little bit more tall and majestic, unlike a usual standard building like this that I usually do. Another idea I had is that with these two posts on the side, I'm going to have a gentle slope, kind of like that, and then ending on like that side as well. So the trick is going to be actually getting it in, because I've never really done one of these slopes before. I've always just done straight line slopes up. So this might not be as easy as it looks, but we shall have to try if we want to get this done. So this would have been easier with scaffolding, but oh well. So if we do something like that every second one for the time being. No, that's not what I want. I want it like that, and so on from there. So something like that, and if we continue that along, so maybe 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, and it just needs to be gentle slopes into the middle. It took a little bit of time to work this out and quite a bit of trial and error, but I think I've managed to get a reasonably nice curve. Now, as you can see, I've put in some of these walls, but I'm not entirely sure the red or the red-orange of the acacia is going to fit quite right. I'm thinking maybe a stone type, a grey would do better here, because then I can do a circular tower over here, and that should do pretty well. So the circular tower is just going to be rather shorter, oh, wait a minute, let me think. Actually, if that is the height of that, then the tower should probably extend maybe above it. I'm not entirely sure. But yes, this red here, red-orange, is definitely not the way to go, I feel. It's just not the right colour balance, and not quite what I'm looking for. I gotta be honest, I'm really struggling to get this thing done. It's just not quite my cup of tea, not quite what I'm really good at. Designing the walls, designing things like this. It's really medieval style, I suppose, and I'm really better at modern style. So I've asked Mira to help me, and I think she'll be helping me with the design and the walls and whatnot. So let's see, of course, what trying to imagine what it would be like, that is definitely something I should be doing too. And after quite a while with mirror and trying to work out quite a few things, we've got ourselves a reasonable design here. We've got ourselves some andesite things here and there, some fire coral I think that is, and some gravel. And of course up here we've got ourselves white concrete, concrete powder and wool. So I think these combinations, I might need to edit it slightly when I put in some windows and whatnot, but I reckon this is going to work pretty well for our design over here. So let's get into building it. After a few hours of building, I've managed to get myself this. I think it's reasonably looking. It's not the best look in the world, and I'm not exactly happy with it, but I think the bar across here, these white and grey and red and brown, all serve to just give a bit of a meeting house look, I suppose, which is really what we're looking for. So on the inside, we've just got ourselves a blackstone and polished blackstone floor, which I suppose is not the best looking, but it's supposed to contrast with the white, which I think it does pretty well. Now, of course, comes the fun part, in filling in the inside. Now, I have been talking with some of the other Rebellion members, and we've discussed quite a few plans, which I don't think I should really share with you, because other people who might be named as the mayor might be watching as well. So I'm going to have to ask you to keep this very quiet. Very, very quiet indeed. Is the mayor gone now? Right, we can say what our plans are. Perfect. So, the plan is to make this little building that we've built, into a bit of a trap house, because it's just a little bit small, there isn't quite enough room to do things, so it might become an unofficial meeting place for the time being, but we are going to trap it, and if any unsuspecting mayor tries and leaps in, we shall be prepared for them. So, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve, and let's get into some of them. Now, I'm going to be honest, traps aren't really my thing, so I'm just going to do a couple of simple ones to start with and then go from there. But the simple one that I did think of is just a simple trapdoor one, or not a trapdoor one, what do we call it? So it's going to be a tripwire hook across here, I think, and then some TNT somewhere around here. It's very simple, of course, and probably not the best idea in the world, but it's supposed to do its job. It's just supposed to give the person a bit of surprise without actually killing off their massive gear, which they'll have gotten, because not everyone has full netherite like me, and while the mayor does, I don't think he'd be too appreciative of me blowing up that kind of stuff. So we'll try and keep his stuff somewhat intact, I guess. The idea, of course, is just to have fun. And here we've got a rather simple trap. Hopefully it works. I'm not going to try and test it because that would just be silly, but I think it should, in theory, work. As I said, I'm not a trap master, so I might need to get a couple of other people in to do a couple of traps for me. Just decorating the inside of this, I thought it would be a little bit funny to have all of the same painting. I actually put these two in first and they just happened to be the same. And then I decided to put this, the next three, and this one turned out to be the same as these two over here the first time round, but these two took a little bit more convincing to be correct, or quote-unquote correct. So that is, just gives a little bit more colour. I probably should put a couple more paintings about, but this should do for the time being. You can also see I put a bit of a meeting table. It is pretty small because our rebellion is pretty small at the moment, but it should do for the time being. Right, I think I've done enough work for today, so let's move on to another topic and another subject for today. And as usual, I'm just going to leave a whole bunch of stuff, random stuff, in this area for me to probably eventually come back and collect and do some more stuff with this area. Now, I've sort of forgotten if I've showed this already, but it looks like the mayor and his deputy have done quite a little bit of work around here with the roads, and I must say it looks very pretty. At least part of the thing that we wanted to do with the road has happened. If not, let's get rid of these bows again. At least some of the, all the roads look pretty good, so that is actually a pretty good job that they did, and they sort of copied my design with a little bit of extra. If we just come over here, I believe, yes, we've still got our 3 road designs from over here, which, if we're honest, the new ones look better. Much, much better. So I guess it's probably a good thing that we didn't become mayor, because we probably would have gone with this design, and it probably wouldn't have looked as good. And now it's time to turn to something just a little bit different. Now, as you can see, I've turned into a creative version of the world, which is slightly back in time. You might notice some of these things are just a little bit back behind where we are actually in the proper server. So that, I guess, proves that this is actually a creative version. But anyway, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this thing, because I'm not exactly satisfied with it being just at sea level like so. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit raised off the ground and perhaps curving in. I'm not entirely sure. But one thing I am thinking as well is that this thing here isn't exactly the way I want it to be. I don't think these lights are quite the way they should be. So if I was to do something like this, would that affect it much? We'll do a little bit around and see. Like there, and then we want to do the same with the ice, so one above, one below, and so on. And looking at that, I believe that has made it look a little bit better. It's just a little bit more thick and makes it look a little bit more circular, I reckon, and having this on this side also makes it look good. So that is definitely something I'm going to be doing in the server once I get back into it. However, we're still stuck with the problem of this space looking just a little bit flat, just a little bit too, well, bland and on the surface. If we're flying over, it's a little bit hard in creative to replicate what we're doing in survival. But if we're flying like this, it looks good. It looks awesome, as many people have said, but it just looks a little bit surface level, too much like a pancake. That's the word I'm looking for. So what thinking, get rid of this or make it bigger, make it all the way around this side here, and do something on the outside here. Maybe do some towers that come up here and on these intersections, and maybe something in the seabed going up just a little bit as well. It's going to take quite a lot of glass, which I have a lot of. Going to take quite a bit of ice, which I also have a lot of. Take a lot of sea lanterns, which I also have a lot of, and black dark concrete, which I also have a lot of. Seems like I have a lot of resources. So I'm going to play around in creative a little bit more and see what I can come up with. After quite a few days of messing about in this, I think I've come up with a couple of ideas, and some of them are thanks to both Mirrorflame and Blue Star Mystic, who've been playing Among Us with me as of late. So what I've got is I'm going to have this tower go up a little bit more, I think. I'm thinking of having smaller towers on these inner ring crossroads, and I'm not sure we're going to go with that. I did think of having a little bit of a wave blue or light blue cyan glass coming up, but that's yet to be determined. Another thought I have is to have another central ring in the center going up. So a little bit of a thicker ring, somewhat similar to what we've got here, and that houses some other thing that I am not yet certain of. You can see some phantoms there, just a surprise. I haven't seen those in a while. Anyway, on the compass directions, we're definitely going to have these things. How they look is a little bit different, because, I do want them something like this with the thing. Let me just go time set day. Time set day, there we go. And with these, I do want one in the center in between these two, but since it's on a corner, it's a little bit harder to figure out exactly what. So that's going to take a little bit of time to work on. Looking at this base there, I probably should mention that it's going to be a little while before I can actually build these things, because I've got quite a few things lined up for the next couple of episodes. Obviously, as I release this, it's in the middle of December, I think, and in the next episode we're going to be looking at some Christmas things, setting up our Secret Santa, hopefully drawing a name, and putting in a few bits. So we've got Christmas coming up, and then we've got some other things that we've got to do, especially taking down that drastic mayor who's still lording it over all of us in this mayoral thing somewhere in the shopping district. But I believe we've just about run out of time. We're nearly at 20 minutes or so. So thank you very much for watching. We're going to see you in the next one. And there might be a surprise. We'll see you then. Goodbye.